everybody, it's me, Balloon Boy, back again with another video. Today, this is gonna be a type of different video. This is gonna be a top 10 reasons of how Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob is a bad character. Is bad. Well, he's not a bad character, these are just reasons, these are just opinions of how he is. Of how he is. It's just opinions of how we think how he is. Me personally, I don't really think he's all that bad, but my cat made me do this video, so here. Reason number one, Mr. Krabs doesn't treat, Mr. Krabs is cheap. Now you all really do know that Mr. Krabs is cheap, of course, but Mr. Krabs is so cheap, he doesn't even want, he doesn't, Mr. Krabs is so cheap. He can't even. Mr. Krabs is so cheap. He doesn't even like spending money. He can't. He since now just wait. He hates spending money. If he hates spending money, that means he can never. If he just wants to keep money, that means he never wants to give it away. That means he is a person who doesn't like to spend money. Reason number one is not that good. I'm sorry. Anyway, reason number two. Mr. Krabs is faking. Now you all may know, Mr. Krabs treats SpongeBob like his son, right? But what if that's not the case? What if he's only making him think he's like his son? But what if Mr. Krabs is only making SpongeBob feel like he loves him, just so he can keep him from working, just so he can make him work more harder, so he can for no extra money. Like Squidward said, Mr. Krabs just makes SpongeBob thinks he loves him like a son, but he really just wants him to work more harder so he doesn't work for extra money. Mr. Krabs is that cheap. Reason number one. Reason number three. Sorry. Mr. Krabs forces. You know how I mentioned number one of how Mr. Krabs hates spending money? Well, here's reason number three. If Mr. Krabs hates spending money, how does he keep his restaurant open? How does he keep his restaurant open? How does he keep his restaurant open? Like, think about it. He never he hates spending money. And if he never likes to spend money, how does he keep his restaurant open? That's weird, huh? That must mean he must force the community to keep his restaurant open. That's using physical force. That's bad. Reason number four. Sorry, I just said much. Reason number four. Mr. Krabs causes physical damage to everyone. Mr. Krabs would do anything to protect his money. Like one time when some came out of the register, he wrestled everyone in this restaurant just to get it all back. Mr. Krabs hurts people just to get money. Sorry. And to be fair, I like money. I think it's good. But Mr. Krabs just wants it. Like he hurts people just to get money. Reason number five. Mr. Krabs is just. Reason number five. Mr. Krabs has a secret recipe. Mr. Krabs hates it when people try to. Mr. Krabs hates it when people try to figure out his recipe. But on order for the restaurant to be opened, you have to have a type of thing. Like Mr. Krabs Like all bosses have to have a boss themselves. Like like the community. Mr. Krabs has needs to have a license on order needs to tell someone on order needs to have someone to tell needs to have to tell a professional his recipe. Anyway, moving on to number 6. Mr. Krabs Mr. Krabs the hates spree things. When Patrick became a king, Mr. Krabs kicked him out of his restaurant because he hates when people eat at their restaurants for free. He all just wants money. Reason number 7. The final reason. Sorry, wrong sentence. The final reason. Mr. Krabs is just a bad person in general. Like Mr. Krabs treats his people treats everyone like they're nothing. And also, I'm just putting this out there. Mr. Krabs' daughter is a whale and he's a crab. How does that work? Like, I is Pearl adopted? Like he just feels lonely and he adopted Pearl because he felt lonely in his anger. But sorry, back to the reason on ahead. Mr. Krabs is a bad person in general. It's because he doesn't pay his employees. He doesn't pay his employees. He charges people a lot, and and he makes SpongeBob think he loves him, but he really doesn't. Mr. Krabs is a bad person. He's too cheap and he's too cheap in everything. Nickelodeon, if you're watching this, if Nickelodeon, if you're watching this, at least make Mr. Krabs not cheap anymore, or just, or just, or just cast him aside. Mr. Krabs is too cheap. By the way, this video is only for. By the way, this video is only for kids up to the age of 3, or 5, or 10. By the way, this video is only up. By the way, I recommend big kids not watching this video. Only the kid up to the age of 10 can watch this video. Goodbye.